Game 31 tonight in Toronto between the Leafs and the Oilers, and another opportunity to continue to climb up the Eastern Conference and specifically the Atlantic Division standings in what is a fairly mediocre Eastern Conference here right now, where basically everyone is only separated by a few points at this point in time. You're looking at a team with the Toronto Maple Leafs who's found a way to put things together over the last week and a half, 2 weeks here, picking up points in each of their last 6 games. Obviously, you're looking at the Montreal one where you probably didn't play that well. You got lucky to get to overtime there, found a way to pick up a point in that one. And then you look at the game on Thursday against San Jose. That one kind of goes the other way, where you probably want to walk away with 2 points after having a 2-0 lead, squandering that, getting to overtime, and then losing it to the San Jose Sharks, where you blow a point and only walk away with 1. But regardless, losing points, picking up points, whatever, this Leafs team continues to add them and continues to climb up the Eastern Conference standings. It's really tight. Everyone picks up points every single night. You're watching so many games that are going into extra time, whether it's overtime or shootouts, and everybody's walking away in 3-point games right now. Every point for this Toronto Maple Leafs team matters, and another opportunity to continue that streak and also continue this good stretch of hockey that they've had over the last little while tonight against the Oilers. So we're going to break down tonight's lineup. We'll see who's in, who's out, who could possibly fill in if you have worst case scenario up front forwards wise. We'll break that all down over on the Daily Faceoff page. I'm Zack Phillips. This game preview is a presentation of Bet365. Let's get over to Daily Faceoff right now and see what we're working with for lines and who's in and who's out. So let's start with the little flashing icons that you see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube right now, and you see on the Daily Faceoff page Nylander and Dakota Joshua right now, both with the little notice icons right now. Nylander and Joshua both did not take part in morning skate here this morning. It was both cited as illness for the reason that they did not skate. Matias Maccelli did not stay on the ice for extra work following the morning skate here today, which would indicate that he would be ready to go in the event that one or both of these guys is not able to play in this game. The interesting thing here is if both of them don't play, I think that the Leafs might have to go and either play shorthanded up front or play with a defenseman up front, or potentially maybe have to get to some emergency recall basis with the Toronto Marlies, who were in Laval on Friday night, come back home, are home here today because they play at home tomorrow at Coca-Cola Coliseum. So you probably have access to a guy like Jacob Cowan if need be, but at this point, you haven't called anybody up, and if both of them are listed as game time decisions, it makes it a whole lot harder, and, you know, the pieces that you have to move might not be able to get done in time to be able to bring a guy up to be able to play if both of them are out. So if both don't play, I kind of get the feeling that you might go 11-7 here, because Maccelli's the only guy that you're carrying right now who could jump in and play. And outside of that, you're going to have to recall somebody, which, I mean, it's not like the Leafs organization doesn't know what they're doing. They'd be well equipped to be able to go to the Marlies, call somebody up, and have them jump in. But, yeah, we are operating in a circumstance here right now where it's a little bit blind and potentially playing shorthanded in this one tonight. Now, the one thing I will say positive-wise is both of them being game time gives you some type of opportunity for them to play. If it was some really bad sickness, you're probably just ruling them out immediately. Now, with that said, it's the Maple Leafs, and we never know anything that's happening. These guys could be game time decisions, and they're going to miss the next month and a half of hockey. Like, that's how this has operated all season long with the Maple Leafs. You never know what's happening. You never know who's out. You never know when they're going to come back. Like, it is a complete gong show when it comes to injury, news, updates, all that. But those guys, that's where I wanted to start tonight because they both did not take part in morning skate. That's the biggest news of the day. Going to your first line here, and we'll work our way back down again. NKnies, Auston Matthews, Max Domi. They go back together again here tonight. This is where I kind of struggle a little bit because part of it is who do you put on that line? Part of it is since Max Domi has joined the first line, he's elevated his play. You could see the intensity pick up. You could see the drive pick up. And this is not a knock on Max Domi, but I just don't see him as a top 6 fit. I don't see him as a fit on this line long term. I think he's a better bottom 6 option. And I think that he struggles defensively. You're watching this line get caved at times in their own zone, which is not where you want them to be playing. You want them starting in the offensive zone. You want them up there getting offensive opportunities, starting on offensive shifts. So Max Domi, I think, is not a help to that. And when you're looking at Matthews and Nyes right now, who aren't blowing you out of the water points production-wise, like they haven't been slagging off here too bad, but they're not performing at that elite top tier level that you'd almost expect or need them to be pushing you over the top, to be continuing to climb up the points leaderboard. When it comes to Max Domi and his fit on that first line, I just don't think it's the best fit for this Leafs team long term. And I think that Max would also just be better for this team if he could find his way into that bottom 6. You know, you look at some of the advanced numbers, you look at the expected goal share after last game against San Jose, Matthews, Nyes, and Domi were at the bottom of the list, whether it's 5-on-5 or all situations, whatever. You break them out. When they were on the ice together, things were not very good. When they were on the ice away from Domi or in a power play situation, you could see the expected goal share, or even at the end when they were trying to defend the lead and not on the ice with them, you could see the expected goal share for those guys. You could see the opportunities trend in a positive direction. When they were on the ice with him, they were getting caved at times. So not in love with that fit. Again, I'm not sitting here saying send Max Domi to the Marlies or put him in the press box or anything like that. I just think Max Domi is a better fit for you in your bottom 6 than what he is as your first line right winger. Like, I think he's a bottom 6 winger, and he's very helpful, and he can be productive there. I just don't think that this is the perfect fit for him, but he continues to run it back here tonight because it does seem like Craig Berube has a blind spot when it comes to Max Domi and is willing to put him in top 6 roles, in center position roles, which is just not where I think is fit for him. And then the problem is he looks out of place in some of those positions, and then the fan base starts to turn on him and say, this guy stinks, get him out of here, we don't like him. I like the player. I like what he brings. I like the passion. I like the intensity. I just think it's better suited for a bottom 6. Your second line tonight, which if Nylander and Joshua are healthy, your second line effectively turns into what is like a third line. You saw Craig Berube kind of manage and balance the minutes over the last little while, where everyone's been a little bit more equal across the board. You watch each line start to kind of level out rather than having like 24, 25 minutes, really pushing like you had JT and Nylander doing at times when Matthews and Nyes were out of your lineup. You start to look at how the game logs have gone and the time on ice has been spread out, and you're looking at marginal differences between the guys who are on your fourth line to your third line to your second line. And then really, I mean, you're looking at Auston Matthews and Matthew Nyes and even William Nylander, who were just like the 3 guys who were pushing up into that like 20, 21, 22 minute range. They were the only ones who seemed to be able to get into there. So I think one thing that you get here, which is nice to have, is depth with these guys. I think spreading the lines out the way that it is, which again, I would rather have Nylander on the second line, but if you do want to play him on the third line, I think the one thing it does do is allow you to kind of take some minutes away from JT. And it's not to say that JT's not playing well. It's just like this condensed schedule is a complete and utter nightmare. You're watching every team around the league struggle with injuries, with health. The play has been sloppier. You know, you're watching leads be blown. We're talking about the Atlantic Division, the Eastern Conference, and how close everybody is and how mediocre everybody is. I wonder how much of this just at this point has to do with fatigue and injuries and not being able to practice that much, because you're going from game to game to game. And when you do get practice opportunity, you don't want to wear yourself out. You don't want to go too hard because you got to get ready to get back at it the next night and play the next game. So you watch JT and Nylander on that stretch where Matthews and Nyes are out. They're having to play 22, 23, 24 minutes a night just to be able to carry the load, because now you look down at your second line and it was Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, Nick Robertson as your second line, or, Cowan or rotating Joshua, whoever it is through the second lines, well, a whole lot more pressure gets put on the first guys. And then they're going 24 minutes a night. 2 nights later, 24, 22 minutes a night. Saturday night, 22 minutes a night. You're wearing these guys out. So to be able to get to a spot in this season and with this lineup where you're starting to get everybody performing, I mean, barring the injuries or the illness, I should say, to Nylander and Joshua from this morning, the morning skate, and whether or not they'll play tonight. But being able to spread minutes out, I think, is a good long-term thing here as well, to be able to kind of get guys, like we just mentioned, John Tavares, some rest. It's like some natural load management within a game where, yeah, if you're trailing by one, or if you're leading, or you're going to power plays, you're going to want John Tavares on the ice, and you got no issues there. But maybe you can kind of slow some minutes down because Scott Laughton can play 14, 15 minutes. The Nick Waugh, Dakota Joshua, Nylander line can step up and play 14, 15 minutes. And then you allot Nylander more ice time later in games. Find him spots on different lines. Load him up in the offensive zone. Play him on the power plays. Like those kinds of things you can spread those minutes out to. And then it kind of just takes the pressure and takes the load off everyone. So I think getting depth right now, like you're getting, has been very helpful to this team. And it's been very helpful to when you look at a line like Cowan and Tavares and Robertson for tonight to be able to take some of that pressure off. Just quickly as well, before I move off of this one and kind of wrap up on the forwards, the one thing with Cowan, Tavares, and Robertson, there was some good chemistry the other day between Cowan and Robertson. They were kind of buzzing around like little water bugs in the offensive zone. You saw them on a couple different occasions doing like one touch give and goes in the offensive zone. They move quickly. They're both some skilled, high offensive upside players. They're guys who can score, create opportunities. They can both make plays. Like, they're not guys that you're going to look at right now and think that they're going to take over games necessarily, but both of them are very capable of creating offense. They looked good together. We saw them create a couple of opportunities for each other in the game against San Jose. I mean, I look back to the second period. It's a little drop pass in the zone. Cowan and Robertson have a give and go. Robertson opens up on the offside for a one-timer opportunity. Cowan dishes across. It misses the net, but they're opening each other up. They're creating, and then John Tavares, as a veteran presence, is there to just kind of be able to support them through it. Teach Easton Cowan, be a shoulder to lean on, and guide him through things, and help him understand the game and learn in real time and learn in situations, and just be the guy to be kind of a teaching figure, I guess, essentially, whether it's on the ice or on the bench after shifts, telling you what you saw. The other thing is he's also a mature, responsible, smart player who can help balance things out for these guys. Nick Robertson no longer putting in the learning category. He is a young guy, but no longer learning. Easton Cowan, that is, probably still going to make mistakes. Probably going to be a guy who's going to take some chances. So John Tavares out there with them, although not the most fleet of foot, he's a guy that can kind of help balance some things out. So I do kind of like the construction of that line, but I would prefer to see William Nylander playing as your second line right winger over Nick Robertson. That said, it does kind of give you a little bit of depth and variety throughout the lineup where you can now look at your third line and maybe call them your second line, or maybe you've got a line one and then you've got 3 lines after that you could play in basically any situation. The only thing for me here that I want to touch on the fourth line, just a quick note, really nothing here to this one, but Järnkrok, Laughton, and Lorentz. I mean, it's not like Järnkrok's been bad, but that line I don't think is as effective with Calle Järnkrok on it. You saw them play with Nick Robertson. I thought that worked. We saw them in the preseason play with Easton Cowan. I thought that worked. Again, you'd rather have Cowan in your top 6, but it did work at times, and so that's where I start to look at a guy like Max Domi and think maybe he would be a better fit for that role. It's just who goes where now, because do you want Calle Järnkrok on your first line right wing? I don't, but you're kind of stuck here. So That's the only thing I wanted to say about the fourth line. Just to your defensive pairings, the big news, the exciting news, I guess, essentially out of morning skate is that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is good to go. He narrowly avoids disaster, and this team avoids disaster. Like, we did the post-game show on Thursday, and we were talking about with Mike from Buffalo, the idea of Oliver Ekman-Larsson going out, and then do you turn to Marshall Rafai? You're not going to rush back Chris Tanev. Do you look to the Marlies? Do you bring up Matt Betting? Do you bring up Villeneuve? Like, are you bringing these guys into the fold if Ekman-Larsson can't play here tonight? Rafai skated. Looks like he might be ready to go, but after the game the other night, they're not going to change anything up. Simone Benoit and Henry Thrun play together here again. Jake McCabe and Troy Stecher, which is effectively your first pair, match up again here tonight. And then on your first pairing, Morgan Rielly and Ekman-Larsson will be your first pair for this game. So very lucky that Oliver Ekman-Larsson avoided injury there. Honestly, I've said it every show that we've done, whether pregame or postgame, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson has by far been this team's best defenseman this season. I know Troy Stecher is getting all the love, and deservingly so, since he came here, and he's kind of the shiny new toy, but Ekman-Larsson, if he went down and did not play tonight, that would have been a massive, massive blow. Like, I think Oliver Ekman-Larsson is the unsung hero of this season, because you even look at times this year where Jake McCabe was struggling, whether it was because of his pairing or just the workload that he was taking on, or just the down spot for him in general. It was Ekman-Larsson that I was looking at basically every night as like the most effective, most consistent defenseman that this team had, and losing him would have been terrible. So to get Ekman-Larsson healthy and in this lineup, it's extremely lucky and very, very, very important for this team, because having him out there eating the minutes he is, taking the matchups he's going to take, is a game breaker. It is at this point, which is crazy to say at this point in Ekman-Larsson's career, and looking back on him last year and even to start this season, where it's like that's your 5-6 guy, mostly because he helps balance the line out, but now he's your one almost, right? So, I mean, you're looking at OEL playing with Morgan Rielly. It's almost even helped Morgan Rielly a little bit over the last bit, because he was struggling out the gates, especially defensively, and then Ekman-Larsson has kind of calmed everything down. So getting Ekman-Larsson in this game, very, very, very important for this team. Power play quickly, Nylander, Tavares, Auston Matthews, William Nylander, if healthy, and Morgan Rielly. I mean, again, what are we going to say? Morgan Rielly, power play quarterback, it's not my favorite thing in the world. I don't have anything else to add to that. They scored the other day. They looked a little bit more dangerous, but I don't have any interest in Morgan Rielly running the power play. Your starting goaltenders for tonight, Tristan Jarry makes his first appearance for the Edmonton Oilers. Yesterday was a crazy day of trades in the NHL. You start the morning with the Oilers making two separate deals. One, getting Stastny from Nashville with a third-round pick, and then the other one, obviously the bigger one, is sending Stuart Skinner and Brett Kulak, as well as a pick, to the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for Tristan Jarry here. His first game with the Oilers, he's obviously going to be ready to go Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, thrown to the Wolves here a little bit, but you got two teams in this one who are matching up pretty much even when it comes to the records. The Oilers have one more point in the standings than the Toronto Maple Leafs do, which I think if you were to look at both teams, what happened last year and where they're at right now, you'd probably be pretty shocked by both of them. Maybe more so the Oilers, especially given the extension that Connor McDavid signed. But pretty disappointing starts to the season for both teams, and an opportunity here to showcase their abilities on the national stage in Hockey Night in Canada here tonight. Saturday night, big showdown between Tristan Jarry and Dennis Hildeby. As well, just a final thing on the roster, Joseph Woll did skate again today. He had three goaltenders on the ice, Hildeby, Akhtiamov, and Woll. He obviously will not be playing here tonight, but positive to at least see him on the ice. Unless we hear some, like, Brandon Carlo shit where all of a sudden he's like on a plane to somewhere and getting surgery. Barring that, Joseph Woll seems like he's nearing a return or working his way back, which is positive news. Let's get to our best bet now. Our best bet is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. NAT That's code NATION, NATION. At Bet365, must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bets have been horrible. There's no other way to put this. Horrible. I think we've now lost 21 straight bets. The record is in shambles. We've lost 5.4 units on the season. The team stinking for a while really, really hurt the bets because you never knew what was going to happen. I think now we're in a situation where JT and Nylander slumped a little bit, which also didn't help because we were going to them being like, this is when they wake up, and they never woke up. So that was not ideal. But we have two best bets for tonight, and I'm hoping that these ones are going to get us out of it. That's the reality. And if not, then I don't know. I'm going to have to bring somebody else on the pregame and get them to give out bets because this is a nightmare. Heading on over to Bet365 right now, looking at the game line for tonight. Minus 135 for the Oilers, favored here in Toronto on the road. The Leafs plus 115. Looking at the total in this one, 6.5 even on either side. Minus 110, whether you want over or under. I think probably in this one, I personally would lean to an under just based on what you're getting out of Dennis Hildeby right now. The expectation for what you're going to have to do defensively against the Oilers to stop them, and the fact that Tristan Jarry comes in for Edmonton, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I feel like he's going to step up to the plate and play a good game here tonight for Edmonton, rise to the occasion, because getting absolutely lit up in your first game with the new team when they think you are the savior to get them a Stanley Cup, it would be a pretty tough look for the Oilers. So I imagine Tristan Jarry shows up and performs tonight. But we have two best bets. First one, we're going John Tavares anytime goal plus 170. Half unit on a Johnny T anytime goal plus 170. $50 on this one will profit you $85. I brought it up. You expect at some point him to snap out of it. I will bet on that to happen here tonight. I like him playing with the kids. I think it's some youthful energy alongside him. I think it's two guys who have legs in Cowan and Robertson, and they can kind of buzz around out there. Johnny T can be a guy who can maybe capitalize from it. You saw him create an opportunity or a couple of opportunities with those guys the other day where it's him kind of working down low, getting pucks out to Robertson, getting pucks out to Cowan, kind of being able to be an extra guy off a rush if those two guys are going to carry the puck up the ice, and then he could be a trailer who can come in high and be dangerous as a third man in, entering the zone, maybe cause some confusion for the Oilers if those two guys are going to drive in. So maybe Johnny T capitalizes from that. And then the other thing, let's hope the power play maybe gets some mojo here now. You saw Auston Matthews score the goal on Thursday, which was a month and a half between power play goals for Auston Matthews. He's now tied for the lead with this team in goals this year. Him and John Tavares. Auston Matthews is tied now. Maybe the power play can get rocking, and then maybe we can get a Johnny T goal there. But as you see, has not scored in his last 4 games. Let's break that tonight. Let's break that one here tonight. The other one we're going to go with is a saves prop, which is the first time I think I've done this in the last 2 years. It's the first time I've done this season. We're going over 25.5 saves for Dennis Hildeby, and we're going to go a half unit on this one, but we're going to do it to profit $50, which would mean that we are going to wager here tonight 57.5 on the minus 115 to profit $50 on this one. So those are your two best bets. Just a little justification behind the Hildeby one. I feel like the Oilers are going to come out flying here tonight. National stage, Hockey Night in Canada, 7 p.m. Eastern in Toronto. Like, this is all the buzz, all the bells and whistles are surrounding this one. You got Tristan Jarry. You know, you're coming into Toronto. Both teams are kind of in this weird spot in the standings and points-wise and the way they've started the season. But the Oilers have been cooking lately. The Leafs are playing better. I think you're going to get a lot of shots from Edmonton tonight. They're going to put on the pressure. The Leafs have not been that great at stopping the other team from getting shots on goal. The high danger chances have kind of started to come down a little bit, and Hildeby has been amazing. But it's not like the Leafs have basically just suffocated everything and every team's been held to 15 shots a night. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Oilers shoot a lot, get a lot of shots on goal. And the way Hildeby's been playing, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a lot of saves. So over 25.5 saves for Dennis Hildeby. That is your game preview for today. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. Reminder to people, come back here later today, Leafs Nation After Dark, immediately following tonight's game against the Edmonton Oilers, breaking it all down, taking calls, hearing from you guys, working on a guest for tonight's show as well at this point. So make sure to subscribe here to the channel. I also want to see in the comments below on this video, what is your best bet? What's your prediction for tonight? Are the Leafs winning? Are they going to get themselves out of, are they going to get themselves in trouble here tonight? Against the Oilers. I want to know what you guys think, what you think about the best bets, and what yours are. Appreciate you all watching. We'll see you guys back here tonight following the game. Till then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.